Hello everybody, welcome back to 10 Minute Reviews. I'm Jason, this is Yanni, my wife Amy, and you can't see her at the moment till she goes crazy, but our fuzzy co-star Freya is here with us as well. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons. We always have videos coming out for you guys. We talk about, yeah, she's sleepy. We talk about a lot of books, a lot of authors. Now, from now on, we're going to be breaking it down in 4 categories. When we talk about one, we're going to talk about the world, the characters, the plot, and the writing. So we can kind of structure a little bit because I know we ramble. So today I want to talk about a series. Now going back to fantasy, and I want to talk today about Kevin Hearne and his Iron Druid series. Now Kevin Hearne, he's a relatively new author. His series has actually ended. I mean, by relatively new, I mean within the last 10-15 years.
He finally to our usual 30-40 year.
And he finally ended his series, but the Iron Druid Chronicles were so popular that he has pretty much, just within the first 3 or 4, he already launched himself up into the upper stratosphere as far as fantasy authors go. Within the genre, he might be as well known as Jim Butcher. He might be as well known as, more well known than, say, David Gemmell. I mean, he's gotten very, very, very well known. Very well known. The Iron Druid Chronicles, they are absolutely fantastic. So, first off, the world. The world of the Iron Druid Chronicles is, look out your window, it is modern times. It is today. There are some minor flashbacks from time to time, which is kind of cool. And of course, when you get things like fairies and fairylands and all that, you start getting a little medieval adjacent within their
and isn't
domain.
There an Irish wolfhound?
But the world itself, modern world, modern times, which does come into play quite a bit within it. Now the characters. There's 2 main characters. There end up being other characters. In fact, there's a spin-off series that he has written about one foul-mouthed, pretty awesome side character. But the 2 main characters are Atticus, who is the Iron Druid. He's a Druid. Now, as the series starts, he is the last Druid on the planet. Which is how, when he interacts with things like the Irish deities, the Irish pantheon, which is really, really fascinating. I mean, you've got the Morrigan, and it's absolutely fascinating when he's interacting with the Irish gods. But he is the last Druid, which gives him a little bit of pull with them because he's the last one. Because the original Druid arts were taught by the Irish gods. Right. Now, he trains an apprentice, which I think is like a 13 or 15 year process. He's covered in tattoos. The tattoos give him, basically all the druids have three forms they could turn into, and as part of their tattoos, they could turn into they have a flying form. They basically have a sky form, an earth form, and a water form. His sky form, I actually don't remember. His earth form is basically a wolf-ish, and his sea form or his water form, he doesn't use that often. I want to say it's like an otter or a seal or something. It's something really silly.
Well, a rowan seals are a huge part of their...
Yeah, it's something really, really funny. Now his
Is it a seahorse?
Or do they have 4? Now I'm trying to remember now, because he really only uses one form a lot, and that's the wolf dog type form. But I actually think there might be 4: a sky form, an earth form, a sea form, and like an earth travel form. Like you have an earth hunter form and an earth travel form. Because his apprentice has both a panther and I want to say a horse. In fact, his apprentice ended up with all of her forms are far cooler than his. But he's got the typical druid magic, some of the typical druid magic you would expect from most urban fantasies. But the primary magic of the Iron Druid, now he's called the Iron Druid because he's figured out a way to incorporate iron into his aura, which gives him some protection from the Fae, because iron is always a weakness against the fairies.
Yep.
Or
renders
for
the magic
null and void. So it protects him quite a bit. That's part of what makes him so famous. That, and he's immortal because he had learned of a concoction, that a recipe that he was able to use that would prolong his life. It actually makes you younger if you use too much of it, which comes into play eventually. Also, turns out it gives you the runs. But
That's terrible.
he calls
They're
it
younger, but
you just shat for 3 hours. You pretty much just shat all the years away, I suppose. And he calls it immortality.
nice.
He's got like 6 or 7 recipes that are all based on that all use the tea pun. So we'll get into that in the writing like vitality. I'm almost positive that's in the book. So we'll get into that when we get to the writing. But yeah, obviously you can tell it's fairly amusing. Now the second character, the Iron Druid Chronicles are fantastic. The second character, the main character, is Oberon. Oberon is the Irish Wolfhound. You could almost say this is familiar because the primary magic of the Druids is binding. They're able to bind things, natural things. For instance, let's say he's, you're a bad guy with a gun chasing him, and while he's running, and he might go ahead and, bind the cotton fibers on the sleeve of your shirt to the wooden desk that you're running past, and it's molecularly balanced. All of a sudden, you're jerked over there. The same thing, he might bind your leather shoes to a nearby tree. Now,
Just
how
did I get here?
and the binding, it's pretty cool and how he uses it and how incredibly strong such a minor thing can be. Of course, he's got other magic, but that's how he gets Oberon, because he binds Oberon's mind to his mind, so they're able to communicate mentally. And you kind of wonder, why is Oberon so damn smart and snarky? But one thing he explains once he has the apprentice and binds her animal to her, another wolfhound, by the way, is
Why not?
that as they are bound, their brains are bound, it basically, it doesn't level up, but through the shared mental space, I guess, it just gets smarter. It is smarter and learns language, at least within the mental space. So the longer, because at first hers is pretty much, of course it's a female Irish Wolfhound, hers is pretty much,
Hey, I'm hungry.
eat, run, play, no bath, give me sausage, that kind of stuff. whereas Oberon is like, I don't want that sausage, I want the other sausage. No, you always overcook that sausage, just give it to me raw. So, they do, in a way, level up. Now, the plot of the Iron Druid, most of the books, especially at the beginning, are individuals. They're one-offs, the same character recurring, and small things do travel through. But the general plot at first of the Iron Druid Chronicles, because I think he didn't realize he was going to get so big and didn't realize it was going to become such a long ongoing, or eventually ended, but such a long series, he wrote them kind of more self-contained. So you might have like your villain of the novel, or your big bad, or your thing that you need to fix, or somebody, the previous enemy chasing Atticus kind of thing. Now, over time, as the series develops and evolves, you get the apprentice, and of course she has her baggage. You get the gods. Of course, Atticus pisses them off. He even finds his mentor, Druid, from like 2,000 years ago, stuck in time, and it's a pretty fascinating whole thing right there, and how he rescues him as well, which is questionable because the guy is just a dick. That is kind of how it goes. And he ends up making promises that he then has to keep, pisses off gods, steals from gods, kills gods, and then as it just keeps on going, things just seem to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So eventually, especially near the end, the last set of books kind of intertwine and have more of a story arc. While the first probably 2/3 of the series, they very little connects from book to book, other than the characters. Some of the characters that kind of get added into it. As far as the writing goes, Kevin Hearne is a hilarious writer. Atticus is a smart ass. He's funny as hell. He's got a little bit of douche to him, possibly coming from being immortal. And there's some absolutely funny stuff, because again, you've got this world full of all the mythologies. So I'll tell you, there's one absolutely unbelievably hilarious sequence that's about a chapter long when Jesus shows up. and it's freaking hilarious. It's absolutely
Christian
hilarious.
Jesus?
Well, it wasn't Jesus.
Well, I'm just.
Yeah, when Jesus shows up.
Oh, someone found Jesus.
And no, he found him. But they've met in the past. It's just an absolutely hilarious sequence. You also have an absolutely hilarious sequence with Perrin, well, it's actually an entire book, and he does show up in later books with Perrin, the Russian god of thunder and lightning. He's basically a hornier, drunker Thor.
So he's Zeus.
No.
That Zeus is the king of.
Well, that's but yeah, and it's pretty. And who's also, and that's when Atticus is pissed off Loki. So yeah, you would love the writing, absolutely love the writing. So you've got to check out the Iron Druid series, Iron Druid Chronicles, I believe it is, by Kevin Hearne. Awesome series. Thank you everybody for watching. Please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons.
I was about to say don't hit.
And we will catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye now.